Hello, everybody. This is Joseph P. Farrell, News and Views from the Nefarium. This is Friday, October 28th, 2011. And I'm a little under the weather today, but I wanted to make first an announcement that we will go ahead with our members only vid chat tonight. And a couple of more announcements, and then a commentary that just some thoughts basically. But anyway, the first announcement. Um, Dr. DeHart and I, my co author, and I finished the book that we were writing no, actually this week. And we have sent off the manuscript to the publisher. And that book is now done. Um, as I've said before, it's probably the most controversial book that either of us have ever written. And we are expecting it to be out sometime next year, 2012. That was our intention actually in writing this book, that it would come out in 2012. I'm not going to as yet give you the title of the book, but I can tell you that what we were investigating in it is, again, the subject of alchemy. It is an unusual book in that it looks at alchemy as a strategy. All right. And it deals with a lot of controversial topics, and we think everybody will enjoy it. There are a lot of revelations in it that many people will find unbelievable, um, but nonetheless, they're there, they're true. And as a result of this book, he and I have each planned our own individual sequels. Dr. DeHart has planned a book which he is hoping will be taken up by the publisher of this one, which will be Feral House. And I certainly hope so too, because what he's uncovered is it's really kind of unbelievable in and of itself. And I could never, I could never write a book on what he's found. I just couldn't do it. But I too am planning some sequels, and I've also managed to mention those to Adam Parfrey, the CEO of Feral House. And basically, the sequels would be in the uh, Babylon's Banksters Philosopher's Stone series that I've done with Feral House. So those are the projects coming up. The other announcement I have to make is we are still working on our conference idea, but we are coming into some difficulties. The chief difficulty of which is it's not Daniel, it's me. Um, I'm so swamped with work right now to try and hold things together that it's difficult for us to manage scheduling time so that we can test the technology. But we are going to go ahead and keep doing that until we get a clear indication of whether the technology is going to work or not. One of the things that is currently holding me down is Dr. DeHart and I, as I've mentioned before, are planning to do a series of ebooks. These will be shorter books by far than the actual published works, but we intend these as kind of quick studies, essays on various topics. We've outlined about 5 ebooks, 5 to 6 ebooks, and we have started writing the first one. I'm going to do some ebooks on my own. He's planning to do some ebooks on his own. But what we're going to do is set up a site in connection with Giza Death Star, and then give people the titles of those books. They'll be at Amazon, of course, in ebook form. And we have already begun work. We've got a lot of work done on the first one. I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks, that book will be finished and uploaded to Amazon. We are also investigating the possibility of making those books available in a hard copy, print on demand form. That's going to be a little bit more complicated. So, in other words, we're very, very busy. So, anyway, that's what's going on. All right. I'm blogging tomorrow about a topic, and I want to share a few thoughts for those of you who don't have the time to sit and read a blog. But I've mentioned several times, I've talked about this on the Bite Show with my friend George Ann Hughes, and even to a little extent on Jeff Rentz. And my thought is this: we are watching a transitional age unfold. We have not been at this point in human affairs since the Renaissance and Protestant Reformation. In other words, we're at one of those turning points of history that comes about once every 500 years. And just as then, I think that we should look at the parallels. When the Renaissance and Reformation occurred, and let's really be honest here. The Reformation was a revolution, and to a certain extent, the Renaissance was a revolution in that it was a cultural revolution. Um, at that time in history, you had an entrenched, empowered bureaucracy. You had that bureaucracy resorting to methods of extreme social control, the Inquisitions, and so on, the Crusades. That bureaucracy made a point to have its own version of politically correct speech. It called it orthodoxy. To think outside that box was heresy, and you were liable to the fires of the Inquisition. You had hidden elites to a certain extent, like the Templars, who were a money power elite. You had the rise of the Italian city states with other types of hidden elites, but in a certain sense, open elites as well. In the midst of all of this upheaval, you had the arrival of a new technology. And the technology was, of course, the movable printing press. As all of this is occurring, you had a rediscovery, and this is a very important point. People ask me, why are you bothering to write about all of this ancient stuff when the world is crumbling around you? Well, for a very good reason. Because the Renaissance, my friends, was less about a rediscovery of classical sources like Aristotle or Plato or so on and so forth, and more, much more, about the rediscovery of esotericism and Hermeticism. And in fact, if you read the major Renaissance philosophers, Pico de Mirandola, Leonardo da Pistoia, certainly Giordano Bruno, Tommaso Campanella, if you read these men, you will discover that they are deeply steeped in Hermetic tradition. And I'm going to continue this comment in a part 2. See you on the flip side.